History with Larry.
All right, Larry.
All right.
We are back. You had a week off, and
I did,
so
yeah.
you should have a very good one this week.
This is a good one.
Okay.
I actually changed from what I was going to do to this one.
Because I thought you had one ready for last week.
I did.
Okay, but you changed.
I did. Yeah.
Oh, you're going to save that one for later?
Probably next week.
Saving it for later.
Yeah.
Larry, what are you doing?
Yes.
Alrighty.
Okay.
So this is more a relative modern history.
Oh, okay.
That way, people might be able to relate to it. So
Yeah, I think that was redundant. Relative
modern
history.
It's modern history. Yes, it will be modern history.
Modern history. Okay.
Takes place in 1978.
That is, that's a couple years after I was born. So, yes, that is modern.
Yeah, I was 8 years old.
How about that?
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yeah, Sarah was just born.
It doesn't seem like that long ago, but
Yes, it doesn't.
long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay, it's about two friends.
Two friends.
Yeah,
Ben and Jerry?
No,
Okay.
Gunter. I'm gonna mispronounce their names, so all you history buffs, please forgive me because I'm not good. Gunter Wetzel.
Oh, yeah, I knew Wetzel.
You know them?
No, I know a Wetzel. I was
they
friends
were-
with a Wetzel growing up.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe they're related.
Maybe.
Once you hear the story, you might say, I wonder.
Oh.
And Peter Strelzik.
It was not a friend of mine.
No, was it? Okay.
Wow.
Well, these two guys, they wanted to do something to better their situation and better their families' lives.
Sure.
And they weren't sure what to do. They actually
yeah.
met 4 years before this takes place, and they started working together. Gunter he wanted to go into physics,
Okay.
but because of circumstances that we'll mention later at the end of the story, he was not able to go to college. So he ended up doing, he was a bricklayer and a truck driver.
So it wasn't because he was blind.
Nope.
No, okay. So he's a bricklayer and a truck driver.
Right.
You kind of need to see for those.
Yes, it's very helpful.
So what's their deal?
Well, yeah, I'll get there.
Okay.
Get there. Peter was an electrician and also a former military mechanic.
Oh, okay.
They actually started working together for a bit as electricians, and Gunter was renovated his own house as well. They lived there. I think he had 2 kids and Peter had 2 kids. So it's kind of important later, you'll see. Anyway, moving right along.
The kids are important?
The number.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's a little twist here.
Oh, it's twisty.
They weren't sure what they wanted to do, but one day Peter's sister-in-law came to visit, and she had an article about hot air balloons.
Oh.
And one of them, there's been some conflicting argument about who came up with the original idea or not, but one of the two had an aha moment and said, that's what we're going to do.
Look, Larry, if you come to me and we're like, we're struggling, we got to do hot air balloons, I'd be like, dude, you lost your mind.
No way.
That's right.
So they set out. Now, keep in mind, this is the days before Google, before YouTube.
Yes.
So they could not look up anything to figure out how to make this stuff.
So they have no clue what they're doing. They're just,
They bought a bunch of fabric,
oh boy,
and their wives helped them sew it together to make this balloon.
this is not going to end well, is it?
And they built the basket and everything. They went to inflate it, would not even
Shocker.
inflate. Yeah,
Huh.
because the fabric they found out
Caught on fire?
was too porous. The
Oh.
air
didn't
go
hold
right
the
through
air.
it. So,
Oh, well, that's not good.
so that was the first attempt, failure.
Oh,
But they learned
boy.
some things.
Yeah, they learned some things. Why don't they just look it up on the internet?
Yeah, I know. Go to the library.
That's right.
The second attempt built a bigger balloon. And
I don't
they also,
think so, Tim.
Right. Well, what was the point of a bigger one if the
well,
first one?
you're going to see.
Okay.
Hold on.
Is this like a Zeppelin or something?
They also did some research, which is very helpful.
Yes, they finally
And
did
they
some.
found the right material to make the balloon. So they made their second balloon, and it worked better.
Okay.
But the blower inside that makes the flame to heat the air inside the balloon, it went through way too much fuel. And
Oh,
it
okay.
just,
well, that's not good.
no,
when you're
that's
trying
not
to
good
fly.
either. Yeah.
Right.
So that didn't work. In between the second and third attempt, they had a little bit of a falling out.
No kidding.
Yeah.
No, shocker.
But Peter decided to follow with the balloon idea, and then Gunter went back. He was going to make an airplane, design his own airplane, build his own airplane.
I
And
don't think so. It's
Yeah.
going to work out very good for him.
The balloon idea did not work. It failed. But so they came back their fourth attempt. So the third attempt, they had a rift. That was the third attempt, and that balloon failed. Fourth attempt, they got it all worked out.
Wow.
They took a motorcycle engine, modified it, added extra pipes and things like that, and that's what they used for the blower to create the flame to make the balloon. But they made the balloon much, much bigger.
Oh, boy.
It ended up being like, it was 13,900.
Oh, is this the blimp? Did they make the blimp?
Square feet. No.
How many
It
square
was
feet?
huge. 13,000.
Good night.
993 square
Okay,
feet.
hey,
Yeah,
that's a lot of hot air.
Yeah, a lot of hot air. And so that they had it all planned. They had to look at the weather and all that. So the night came for them to do it, to inflate the balloon. And
Why at night?
we're going to get there.
Oh,
Intrigue.
yes.
So it was go time. It's either we do it now or we don't. We abandon the whole thing and forget it and part ways. They didn't. They said, okay, let's go. So at about 2:30 a.m. on the night of September 15th, about 2:30 a.m. in the morning, the balloon was airborne, but they had a rough start because as the balloon was filling with air, of course, and then it starts to lift, and you have it anchored to the ground to keep. So when you're ready, you can cut the anchors and
Yes.
go up.
Thank you.
The anchors were at the opposite corner, so when they went to cut it, they didn't cut them exactly at the same time. So the balloon tilted, causing the flame inside to catch part of the balloon on fire. They got the fire out, but it left a hole. So they had, in order for their flight, they had to keep the burner burning the whole time. They were hoping not to do that so that it could conserve fuel and give them a longer flight time. Didn't happen.
These guys aren't very good engineers.
I know.
They?
They're just, what a bunch of amateurs.
But you give them an A for effort.
Anyway, so the balloon got up to about 2,000 meters.
I
in the
don't
air.
think I would go that high with a hole in it.
And at night, like you can't really see well. What are they doing?
There's no way.
So the whole flight time was about 28 minutes, but somewhere near the end of their flight time, the gas ran out. And they couldn't reignite.
A little foreshadowing there, huh? Wasn't there? No kidding. Right.
They couldn't reignite the burner.
Oh, my goodness.
And of course, as the air gets cooler in the balloon comes down, and that's what happened. They landed in some trees, and some police officers saw them, and they were okay and everything. But so here's the twist of the story.
Ooh, like the twists.
They were not building the hot air balloon to start a hot air balloon business. They were building the hot air balloon to escape the oppressive communist government of East Germany. And they were escaping into West Germany. And their flight gave them enough lift, and the wind carried enough into West Germany. And they escaped.
What about their kids, though?
Well, that was the thing. So they needed a huge balloon to carry, because they couldn't weave a basket like a traditional hot air balloon. So they had to use metal, which was
the
heavier.
Nazis not watching? Of course, they weren't Nazis yet.
Well,
Or
so
back then,
the
it was
attempt that
Germans.
failed with...
This is 70s. Nazis are gone.
So when Peter took his family, he was going to try it on his own. That balloon failed, and it landed in sort of like the no-man zone or no-go zone between the borders. And they had to abandon it.
What do you do at that point?
Well,
Are they stuck forever?
The government started looking for people buying balloons. They put restrictions on how much fabric you could buy and everything. So they had to go all around Germany to get smaller, amounts of the fabric to make enough to. And so that's why they had to do it at night. And that particular night, the winds were blowing in the right direction. So it was either they do it then or not at all.
That's great. I don't understand this. Like, if it didn't work the fourth, that's it. Like, you want to get out of this country, so why not a fifth try? Why not a sixth try?
Yeah, so during the time after the Berlin Wall was built, there was about 150,000 people that tried escaping, and only 40,000 made it. So very low.
How many people tried?
150,000.
40,000 is a lot of people escaping.
Yeah.
It sounds like our wall in Texas over there.
But the downside is if you get caught, it's a high price to pay.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
So they made it. So when they landed, Gunter and Peter came out of the woods and met the officers, and they said, "Are we in West Germany?"
And they said, no, you're in Czechoslovakia.
Yeah, they said, yeah. So they started, hooting and hollering and calling their wives and kids out. But I went to say with the basket, so the problem was the weight. Because the basket was metal, a steel frame, that
Why
added a
would
lot
they
more-
do that?
Because that was the material they had available.
Oh.
And
Wow.
so they had to make this huge balloon, and it was only about 2 square meters, the size of it. So they're all packed in.
Larry, we are English here. So
2 square yards.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Give or take.
Okay.
But so they're all packed into this little basket with the burner in the middle and the fuel tank. And
Wow.
they had no idea where they were going, which direction, because they had no control because it's a balloon. You just drift with the wind. So they were hoping they were drifting far enough. And so they actually made a movie about it, and I think it was 1982. It's called Night Crossing.
Night Crossing.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Now, have you seen it?
I never heard of it till I heard about this. I don't remember where I heard it, and I'm like, what was that story? And then I was like, I think it was something with a hot air balloon. And
Wow.
so yeah,
I was wondering. I was like, I didn't realize hot air balloons were new in 1978.
But they've been around.
yeah. So the article was a big hot air balloon like convention that was going to take place in Albuquerque, New
Excuse me,
Mexico.
wait a minute. A hot air balloon convention?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
And so when they saw it, they're like, "Hey, we can build that."
Wow.
But it's not as simple as you would think. So there's a
I
little
guess
bit of
not. Right.
Yeah.
science.
So they got their
So-
freedom. How about
Yeah,
that?
they did, and
So
Oh,
I've
that's
never heard of
cool.
them. So you're right.
Yeah.
There's no way
it's
I would
kind
have
of a
known.
cool story.
That
Franz
is
and
cool.
Franz.
Yeah,
But
the fact that they were willing to risk everything just to get out of there was it's there's multiple stories of people doing stuff like that, but theirs was unique in the
Sure.
fact that
Yeah.
they went over the wall, way up high over it. And
Yeah.
then, yeah. So it's kind of cool.
Shows how bad it was there, I guess.
Yeah, it was really bad. Yeah, it got really bad.
yeah, well, cool. Well,
So-
cool.
Wow, that's cool.
Well, all right. That was interesting. I hope you guys learned something. I did.
Yeah.
And didn't know about Hans and Franz or whatever their name is.
Peter and Gunter.
Gunter and Peter. Peter.
I think Gunter, if I remember correctly, he's still alive. Peter died
Get
a few
out.
years ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I guess it was 78.
Yeah,
so
78.
yeah, because it wasn't until Reagan, tear down that wall,
Right.
Gorbachev.
Yeah, that's right.
And so that was in 88, I think.
I think somewhere around there, yeah.
Right,
Do you
so-
remember watching that on TV?
I do.
Me too.
Yeah.
Right. I do remember watching that. I was 12 years old. So don't tell me how old you were. You were like 20.
Well, 18.
18. You had a beard and everything.
Yeah, I did.
And I didn't even, anyway. So, all right. Well, that's interesting. Thank you very much, Larry. And we'll look forward to next week.